Now I'll leave you with this, my final distraction that incorporates all the distractions that I've mentioned in this letter to self. It's history. History might appear to be our greatest asset, but you gotta realize it's his story, not our story. As a child, I was always given a his story book, but there was never a journal next to that his story book that I was chronicling Johnnie Williams' story, my story. When I read through his story book, my story was absent. Be very careful studying his story and looking at your own story as if it's insignificant because it's not in his book with his story. That's his story. You have your story. We all have 5 histories. But history says that all nations that have risen focus more on how they could take advantage will have a bloody history, but they will also have a valiant fall within their story, and that's going to be his story too. So understand, there's my story, there's my family story, there's my racial story, there's my national history, and then there's my world history. I dominate my story, and I want you to dominate your story. My name is Johnnie Edward Williams III. And when I figured out that my story was worth telling, that my family story had room for me to contribute some interesting chapters, and that my racial history, I can make some contributions and make a mark and be a positive example for my community and my race and rep it well. And I realize that his story is just his story. It no longer distracts me. What he's done and what she's done in history, some good, too much bad, I leave to karma, and I offer forgiveness. I wasn't even there, but I offer forgiveness. Forgiveness so that I can move forward and be free to scale through my seasons and evolve. I let the pain, I let the shame fall away. I let it go. So now his story no longer impacts me, doesn't make my heart race, doesn't get my emotions stirring. It does not lower my esteem to hear the word slave, the N-word. Doesn't affect my esteem anymore. So some might say, that's because you got an ego. No, I did the work. So in my summer season of ego, I manifest, I create, just like I created this message. I own my story, and I accept the end of this season. And as all the accolades fall away, as the assignment of touching and speaking to 1 million kids falls away, I rise, I evolve, and I have gratitude for every step that I took along this journey. I've lived a wonderful life. And I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for whatever role you play in my life. And I hope that I offer value. I hope that my honesty and speaking from my heart has given you something worthwhile to listen to. Be careful what you say to yourself. Understand that if you don't talk well to yourself, if you don't talk upliftment to yourself, if you don't talk encouragement to yourself, how can the world talk any different? Don't need the world to tell you anything about yourself. You're here to tell the world about you. My name's Johnnie Williams. That's just something to think about.